Simon, how are you? Moses Habari? Very good. How are you? Bwana PS? Habari Bwana Chairman?
Also have the storage for Meza oil and gas, where we are doing now Taifa Dagor.
Over the next 3 days, we'll seriously engage and look at several topics, including insights from ministers and heads of utilities on energy mining from the continent. And like Simon said, we have over 23, 24 ministers in the House today from the continent. We'll also look at increasing pace and scale, how to increase the pace and scale of Africa renewable energy projects, the growing role of Africa gas within today's geopolitical context, breaking down barriers to energy transition in mining. We look at capital flows and risk mitigation in today's market. We'll also be looking at financing an African energy transition in the challenge of today's climate change, and Africa path to becoming global green hydrogen powerhouse, building regional power markets, electricity trade between countries, and many other topics, Your Excellency.
Kenya is already the 6th largest global producer of geothermal power. 6,000 megawatts of both large and small hydroelectricity potential is also on the offer. 300 megawatts potential for cogeneration in the sugarcane factories in Western Kenya is also available. 29 to 131 megawatts of biogas potential using various feedstocks. A 2-megawatt biogas power plant is already operational in Naivasha and is using flower waste from the flowers we are exporting globally. As already mentioned, renewable energy in Kenya currently accounts for 73% of installed power generation capacity. In terms of utilization, renewable energy accounts for 90% of the power generation dispatch. We are on course towards achieving our target of 100% clean energy in 8 years by 2030. Additionally, we have set a national target to achieve 100% access to clean cooking by 2028. In fact, in our budget this year, we have done 2 things so that we can set ourselves on the trajectory to clean cooking. Number one, we are reducing taxes, the 8% VAT on gas, cooking gas. Number two, we are also extending, on the other hand, facilities that will make it possible to reduce our cylinders from about 2,000 shillings to between 300 and 500 shillings. Again, as we push the trajectory for clean cooking. We should be discussing a financial ecosystem, a new international financial mechanism that is going to have no lesser or greater partners. That is going to be a win-win, where everybody is treated equally. For those of you who are in the development finance sector, you know very well that today some countries access development finance at 10-12%. Others access development finance at 1%, maybe 0.5%. We're saying we should have an international financial system that treats everybody equally and that does not disadvantage others because of an element called risk. We must find a way of de-risking everybody and making development finance available to all of us equally, to ask for a fair international financial system is not to ask for too much. I think it's the fair thing to do. What we do not want is an unfair system. And any perpetuation of an unfair system is unfair to everybody. And the good news is that for the first time, climate change, there is no developing or developed country. We are all in the same boat. However hard you try, you cannot have unilateral action at the corner. If this place is burning, you cannot have an air condition at your corner. It will not work. You will have to find a way of sorting out everybody if you have to sort yourself out. So I think the sooner we realize that, the better for all of us, and we can all come around one table and have one conversation that gives win-win for everybody. By working together, African countries can maximize their collective potential, share resources, and enhance energy security, stability, and efficiency. Cross-border energy infrastructure projects, such as regional power grids and interconnections, will not only facilitate energy trade, but also foster regional integration and inclusive economic growth. This singular moment, when energy connectivity powers Pan-Africanism, while Pan-Africanism drives energy infrastructure connectivity, is also our opportunity to strengthen partnerships and build a united, interconnected Africa. I say this because as policymakers, we have agreed and we have decided and we have set ourselves to achieve the consolidation of our assets, our thoughts, and to make our development inclusive. It is the reason why we have 85%, close to 90% ratification of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, because it is the instrument that will consolidate our position, synergize our action, create the single largest market of 1.4 billion people, and being the youngest continent, provide ourselves the opportunity to provide global labor for the future. In any case, by 2050, a quarter of the world's population will be living in the African continent. And the endowments that we have, the huge energy resources that we have, green energy resources that we have in wind, in solar, in geothermal, in hydro, the huge resources we have in sustainable agriculture, because we have 2/3 of the world's uncultivated agricultural land. And with our demographic dividend, we want to position Africa as the continent of the future, the continent that is going to drive green industrialization, that is going to assist the globe in making sure that we have not just green energy and green industrialization, but assist in decarbonizing the rest of the world. The unprecedented existential crisis of climate change has a lot to do with our relationship with energy. Energy makes human life safer, human activity more efficient, and society better. The different ways in which societies access and utilize energy describes the contours of human productivity and inequality, and also define our contribution to the worsening climate crisis. For these reasons, the world now has clarity on the right, as well as the wrong, way of sourcing energy. The question of whether we need energy at all shall never arise because that is the mandatory fact of life. The matter of how we cater for our energy needs must therefore escalate us to the highest priority of humanity's urgent existential concerns and must continuously occupy our thinking. In the discourse about energy and climate change, it is impossible to be neutral or disinterested. We can be part of the problem and at the same time contribute to its solution in various ways. For instance, Africa, with only 16.7% of the world population, has historically been the world's smallest contributor to the problem, cumulatively emitting less than 2.9% of greenhouse gas emissions. At the same time, Africa bears the disproportionate burden of adverse impacts of climate change, including extreme weather phenomena, whose devastating consequences range from drought and starvation on one end to floods, landslides, and waterborne disease, as well as massive destruction of property, infrastructure, and livelihoods on a scale that is unprecedented.